let me explain to you why many deities or forces in Igbo tradition, African tradition are considered demonic and not of God. I will use English predominantly to say this because of some of our brothers and sisters who do not find it easy to comprehend Igbo language. Imagine you have a problem with me and we choose not to resolve the issue through civil means, through involving the police or going to court. And we decided to resolve it through, or maybe to attack each other through spiritual means. You as a Christian, by the time you kneel down to call on God, asking God to intervene, asking God to fight your battle and all the rest of it, I'll move and summon some spirits in Igbo tradition, like Njaba, Ogugu, Obuide, Amadioha. Now, by the time I take up a caller, the only thing I will do in respect to God is to raise it and say, God, thank you. That is thanking God. And then I will skip the communication with God and speak directly to these deities, giving them instruction to move straight and attack you. I may give them reasons, or I may just cue the reasons and tell them to move immediately. What they will do is that they will move directly to your family. Either they start wreaking havoc on you, or on your business interest, or on your children, on whatever they can lay their hands on. Now, doesn't this, by so doing, mean that these deities are not of God? Since that while you are still talking to God, they actually moved without seeking any permission from God. They moved immediately to attack you. Now, this is one of the reasons why these deities are widely considered demonic, because they tend to act outside the authorization of God. They tend to act outside what you perceive is the authorization or the preference of what God may actually decide in such a matter. But now, understand this. Take this for an instance. Imagine you have issue with me, maybe in Lagos. We are in Ikeja and we are having issues. And now you know Tinubu, the President Tinubu, who is the Grand Commander of Armed Forces in Nigeria, who is in charge or above all armed personnel in this Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now you know Tinubu, I know Tinubu. Tinubu takes you as a daughter and also takes me as a son. Now we are having issue in Ikeja. And you decide to call Tinubu, say, please, I'm in trouble. Somebody is harassing me. Please send reinforcements. Send people that will deal with Mazi General, who is having problem with you in Ikeja. Now, you have called the highest authority, just like a Christian who kneels down, have called God, who is the highest authority above all forces. Now, you have called the Grand Commander of Armed Forces in Nigeria. Now, contrary to what you just did, even though I know Tinubu, even though I have his contact, the same way I have access to God like a Christian has access to God, because nobody has monopoly of access to God, no matter your religion. Now, by the time you call Tinubu, I refuse to call Tinubu. What I decide to do is this. I pick up a phone, call the patrol, the army patrol in Ikeja, those patrolling Ikeja, to come immediately to the spot where we're having that issue. Now, what happens? By the time you call Tinubu, Tinubu will not directly call those on patrol because he doesn't really know them. That does not mean he cannot know them if he wants to. That brings us back to the part that now, why God is omniscient, he can know anything he wants to know, doesn't mean God at every moment, at every minute, knows everything that is happening in the universe. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't mean while you are using your vibrator, using your dildo, God is watching you, God knows. It doesn't mean while you are there, laying a woman or there doing your shit, or maybe lying, doing some certain things, betting, defecating, that God is watching you. God can know, does not mean he is there to know everything. I will come back to this point, but let's get back to the issue. Now, by the time you call Tinubu, Tinubu will directly call the Minister of Defense or call the AIG, because that is the people that actually within his circle of communication in terms of authority, because he's too big to be in contact with those in patrol, because there is division of authority. The same way it is in human existence, that is the same way it is applicable in the spiritual realm. That is why when you come to regions like states, there are the same way you have commissioner of police in charge of those regions in terms of security. That is the same way when you come to spiritual aspect, there are forces in charge of regions, territories, families, even on individual basis. Now it happens this way. The same thing that is applicable in human existence, that's the same way it is somehow structured in the spiritual realm. Now, when you call Tinubu, Tinubu will call the AIG. The AIG, of course, doesn't know those on patrol, because that is actually not, he has delegated that job. He's too big to be knowing those on patrol. Now, he had to call the Commissioner of Police of Lagos. By the time he calls the Commissioner of Police of Lagos, on the instruction of Tinubu that you called, that the Commissioner of Police should send reinforcement to you in Ikeja, those that I called on patrol have already arrived, and they have started matching you, dealing with you. When they will match you. By the time Tinubu must have met call to the AIG call commissioner, and commissioner will have to call divisional police officer of Ikeja, and divisional police officer have to that radio those on patrol to come to your rescue. By the time that radio communication arrived, those have already caught, which we are closer, have already pounced on you and messed you up. The same thing is what we exactly play out by the time you kneel down to call on God, and I face and summon some forces closer to me. Because those people on patrol that I call, they are my friends. I usually tip them, we usually sit down, they know that we are very familiar, even though they are given authority to protect you too. But because I have personal relationship with them, the same way I have personal relationship with those forces I call, those Ogugu, those Amadioha. You see me sometimes, I pour libation, I kill some ram, I do some stuff. That's personal relationship I've cultivated with them over the years. Now they will respond to me quickly. The same way police officers that you rapport with, soldiers that you rapport with, will quickly respond to you over some people that they don't actually rapport with closely. It doesn't mean they don't owe those people responsibility. They do, but I have personal relationship with them. Now, by the time Tinubu must have responded, I have gone halfway dealing with you. That is what plays out that makes many people call this spirit demonic, because by the time you are calling on God, and God is delegating these matters to forces that are in charge of your territory, and those forces will delegate to the ones subordinate to them. By the time they respond to your rescue, I have dealt with you. Somebody will say it doesn't work like that, but let me make reference to the Bible you read. When Daniel prayed, and God heard his prayer, God did not go to answer that prayer. God has the power, the ability to say, your prayer has been granted, the problem is solved. No, it doesn't work that way, because there is hierarchy. God is too big to be an errand boy, the way most Christians or most religious people make him to be. You have a minor problem, you call God to come. God will call upon you. Come, no. Come and respond. Like God is he's a baby. Like, are you telling me if you have a problem in Imo State, you call Tinubu to come and rescue you? You have security challenge in Imo State, you call the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to come to your rescue? Are you crazy? You will call your divisional police officer, because there is delegation of power. They have been given authority to protect your region. Tinubu is too big to respond to an arrest. The same way is applicable to God. That was why when Daniel prayed, what God did was to send a Gabriel. According to the Bible story, God did not do that. He sent a Gabriel. Even Bible reported that even when a Gabriel was on his way, that he encountered problem. The prince of Persia marched him and seized him. He took him into captivity. Even when Daniel started praying, God later on, he saw Daniel still praying. I said, but I thought I have sent Genje Gabriel to deliver the answer to this prayer. This brings me to the point where I told you that why God is omniscient, he can know everything, does not mean at every point in time he knows everything. The same way he didn't know that the prayer that he sent to Daniel to be answered has not yet been answered. He later looked and said, oh, this guy is still praying. So how come that I have sent an answer to this prayer? The same thing shows you that God is not at every point in time looking at you fornicating, looking at you using your vibrator, using at you stealing. But if he wants to know, he will know, because he has the ability to know everything that happens in the universe. What am I trying to say? God sent Angel Gabriel. He didn't go because he's too big to go on such an errand. So even when Angel Gabriel was captured by the prince of Persia, even your Bible said that God saw that he was in captivity. God has the power to say, be released, or give instruction to the prince of Persia, release Angel Gabriel. No, he sent Angel Michael. The same way, if there is a problem in Abuja or in Lagos, in Kogi, Tinubu will not carry gun and go. Tinubu will call, hey, Commissioner of Police, go into action, deliver these people, do your job. Who is the commanding officer of this battalion? Go into action, do these things. Because Tinubu is too big to do those things. The same way, if Tinubu, who is a mere mortal, who is an ordinary individual, in the sight of God, if Tinubu can delegate, if Tinubu cannot respond to those little issues, how much more God, who is above the person that is widely considered the most powerful president in the universe, which is President Donald Trump. God is above Donald Trump. There are things that even Donald Trump cannot even do as a president, because he's too big to do this. So how much more God? So because I have issues with you, God should not just fly down from wherever he is and fight for you. Who the fuck are you? This is the idea in Igbo cosmology, or African spiritual cosmology, that Igbos understood very well. They understood that aspect of hierarchy in spiritual realm. That is why those spirits you see us consulting, Njaba, Amadioha, all those things, those are lower forces that are under the authority of Chukwu, God. That is why a soldier can open fire on you in Lagos and shoot you. It doesn't mean that that soldier is no longer under the authority of Tinubu, simply because Tinubu did not give that instruction. That soldier can act outside the instruction of Tinubu. It still doesn't take him away from the authority of Tinubu. The same way I can send a spirit, I can send a force now to attack you, it will do something. Doesn't mean that they're no longer under the control of Chukwu. So because people feel that this attacks comes in such a way that this spirit oppress in such a way that it looks like they're not actually obeying God. No, It's just because they have some independence of oppression. The same way you have it in